Okay, if this video gets to you a little bit later today, it's okay. It's my apologies. I didn't get to film on Friday so that these could be posted for you today. System of equations doing the substitution method. So, like I said, there were 3 methods to solving a system of equations. That was graphing, substitution, and elimination. You need to know how to do each one. There's no using elimination when I tell you to use substitution. I want you to know how to do each way of solving these. So when substituting, you have to have at least one equation that has a variable isolated. So you're substituting something into another equation. So if you look here at example 1, we have 5x plus 2y equals negative 2 and y equals negative 5x minus 6. This already has your variable isolated. You have a variable by itself. So that means when we do substitution, you're going to take this part of the equation, since y equals negative 5x minus 6, and we're going to substitute it in for y into the first equation. So rewrite your first equation, 5x plus 2y equals negative 2. We know that y equals negative 5x minus 6. So I'm going to plug that in. 5x plus 2 times negative 5x minus 6. And the reason that's going to equal negative 2, the reason why you do that is because now you have an equation with one unknown. Up here, we had 2 unknowns. So we know that y equals this. This now gives us an x. So distributive property, 5x minus 2 times negative 5x is negative 10x. And 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. And that's going to equal negative 2. Combining like terms, we have negative 5x minus 12 equaling negative 2. And then we're going to go ahead and solve our equation. So 5x, negative 5x is going to equal negative 10. And then if you divide both sides by negative 5, so we'll come up here. Negative 5x equals negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 5. X is going to equal 2. So that's one answer. Once you have that, you're going to plug it back in. Now you can plug it back in to either the first equation or the second equation. My advice to you is to pick the easier equation. This already has y isolated. So we know what x is. We're going to find what y is. So y is going to equal negative 5. We're going to plug in the 2 minus 6. Y equals negative 10 minus 6. So y is going to equal negative 16. And those are your 2 answers. So for this, x equals 2, y equals negative 16. 2 answers. 2 equations, 2 answers. Okay. So the second one, second example, we have y equals negative 3x plus 16 and y equals negative 4x plus 19. Now, I said at least one of your equations had to have a variable isolated. In this case, both of these equations have a variable isolated. They both have y equals. When that happens, if y equals this and y equals that, they're equal to each other because they both equal y. So when you have this, we're going to say negative 3x plus 16 is going to equal negative 4x plus 19. Now we have to get our x's on one side, get our coefficients on the other. So I'm going to add 4x to both sides. So I have negative x plus 16 equals 19. And then I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. negative x is going to equal 3. And I'm going to divide by negative 1. X is going to equal negative 3. So that's one answer. Then I can take and plug it into one of our original equations. So let's just pick the first one. Y is going to equal 3, negative 3, times negative 3 plus 16. So doing our math, y is going to equal 9 plus 16. Y is going to equal 25. Those are your two answers. X equals negative 3, y equals 25. Last but not least, we have an example where we have two equations and neither one of them have a variable isolated. So we need to make one of these equations have a variable isolated. You can isolate either x or y. It doesn't always have to be y. So if we look here, the easier equation to isolate a variable is this second one. We can isolate either x or y because there's no coefficients in front of those variables. Up here we have coefficients to deal with. So this, I'm going to go ahead and isolate x. So we have x plus y equals 8. I'm going to subtract y from both sides. X is going to equal 8 minus y. So now I have something to substitute. I'm going to take what x equals, and I'm going to substitute it into that first equation. So we have negative 4 times 8 minus y plus 7y, and that's going to equal 1. Doing the distributive property, negative 32 plus 4y plus 7y is going to equal 1. Combining like terms, negative 32 plus 11y is going to equal 1. And I'm going to add 32 to both sides. 11y is going to equal 33. Divide by 11, y equals 3. So that's one answer. I now can take that and plug it in. I can plug it into this second equation. So we have x plus y equals 8. I'm going to take that y and I'm going to plug it in. So x plus 3 equals 8, subtracting 3 from both sides. X is going to equal 5. So take and plug that in. X is going to equal 5. So your two answers, x equals 5, y equals 3. Your homework, which stays in your notebook, is a worksheet posted on Schoology. Tomorrow you will have a worksheet to turn in. And then Wednesday we'll be doing the elimination method.